Hi, I'm Conrad, and I'm finishing off the first half of the series with a roundup, the contemplative or peaceful games and how I discovered them, with a bit more in-depth reasoning behind a few of my review scores. So the first peaceful game I discovered was To the Moon by Freebird Games. It's a little retro, but it tells a very clever contemporary story set in our time but not in our time. In To the Moon, the thing that grabbed me to start with was the music. And then I realized why. The music is created by Laura Shigihara, a la Plants vs. Zombies fame, the original one. But anyway, I'll show you some of this free comic that comes as a DLC, which is a side game to what is really a deep game, and it kind of explains the idea behind To the Moon. Yes, I did cry when I played To the Moon. But it was my first peaceful game. So To the Moon is best described in this clip. As I said, it features two key characters, Rosa and Neil, who are in the dreams business. I gave To the Moon a 5.
Right, so next up was Bastion by Supergiant Games. Now, I discovered this game thanks to my kids, actually. Not sure how, but it was a great artwork that got me hooked. It's an action adventure, so you have to shoot at stuff and do lots of running, but it's a mercy kind of shooting. You are referred to as the kid throughout. The beautiful part of the game is, as I hinted in previous videos, the artwork and the narration. Now, the kid has to shoot dead all the ghosts and slip past the defenses that the core has put in place. The narrator creates the story which you weave to one of two possible endings. Now, I've said before that the narration here was unique, and it slows the fast-paced game action just enough. For example, when you die, the narrator tells you off like a granny who charges you for getting caught stealing cookies, and then slips you one more cookie anyway. So you get the idea. I gave Bastion a 5. Dearest by the Chinese Room is very similar in target to another game in my clutch called Trauma. Now, Trauma is a brilliant flash game created by Christian Majewski, and you can try it out for free in a browser. Both Trauma and Dearest explore a motorway tragedy, and you're left with the task of unpicking the guilt, the loss, what happened, and as well as why. If you can figure out these two games, without digging any skeletons out of your own closet. Do let me know how you did that. These definitely are amongst my favourites. Dearest was probably the second of these kind of games in the genre that I played, and it got a 5. Trauma got a 4, but if only because it isn't as deeply as immersive. It is free to play in the browser, and probably for that it should get a 5. Anyway. Related game to Trauma is Mind Path to Thalamus. Now, Path to Thalamus by Carlos Coronado is more of a puzzle than any of the others, but it has a brilliant story to tell. You're trapped in someone's thoughts in this game. You play a coma patient trying to recover, who also has lost his daughter. So this is probably best played alongside Trauma, or not at all. As I said, some of these games might make you cry. Beautiful puzzles, sounds, and artwork, but known for its terrible voiceover. The voiceover apparently will be addressed in an update. If it has, do let me know. I think I gave this a 3 or a 4. Don't remember now. It's probably a 3 for Mind Path to Thalamus. Alright, A New Beginning is just a clicker adventure, but this game by Daedalic Entertainment was a linear story told in a post-apocalyptic world where the Earth is destroyed by the forces of nature. It appealed to me only because it's got a green agenda. It kept reminding me of the backstory to the Hayao Miyazaki movie Ponyo, for instance. A New Beginning, the final cut, got a 3.
No, I'm afraid.
Probably because it's just a very linear
perfectly
story. Yearwalk by Swedish mobile developer Simigo is up next. Now, it has an interesting story to tell. Probably like all these indie games, actually. I'm not going to ruin it for you because I found the game a bit too puzzle heavy and a bit too dark, so I never actually completed it. You're going to get more from this game if you're into mythology, or if you come from one of the Scandinavian countries, I guess. I had to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a score of 3. Another game that might be more enjoyable if you're from the same region as the developers is The Graveyard by Belgian devs Tales. The narration is, as far as I can figure, in Dutch, but with English subtitles anyway. The only reason it didn't get a 1 is because I can still understand the central part of the theme, which is a Dutch dirge. Which leaves The Graveyard with a 2. I suggest you play the free online version though. By the way, these games are all available on Steam. Okay, it's not an advert, but some of them are actually downloadable for free. Obviously, if you buy the game, you are supporting the developers. So, Proteus and Eidolon are up next. Proteus was created by Ed Key and David Kanaga. It's a pretty much 8-bit randomly generated world with nothing much to do other than to see some randomly generated landscapes, a few fanciful flora and fauna, and even some weather. So Proteus got a 3 just for trying to be a game without being a game, and merely being a peaceful walk to nowhere in particular. If this is your thing, it might be. It has no story to tell. It's relaxing, but in a way that you know can never reach a conclusion. Proteus is, like its name almost implies, a prototype, but still gets a 3, mostly for replayability. Eidolon by Icewater Games is up next, and I gave it a 4. It's a story, well, I'm kind of near the middle of it, and a lot of the game mechanics of Proteus seem to be missing, are actually present in Eidolon. It's got a highly explorable landscape, very beautiful landscape, inspiring landscapes. The difference that Eidolon has is its map isn't random, and yes, the map could probably kill you. It's obviously better drawn and so on. Totally different house, but it has a slightly deeper premise in that it actually has a story which you uncover through little scraps of paper and ruined cities that you wander through. So I gave Proteus a 3 and I gave Eidolon a 4, simply because the graphics engine and the sound didn't quite cut it. Gone Home is up next, created by a crowd called the Fulbright Company. Now, I just finished this game. It's a slightly voyeuristic game. You arrive in a large house, it's dark and it's raining. There's no impending doom, but the soundtrack in-game covers the main character Caitlin's life. But the soundtrack, through musical clips that is, you get the sound effects in the house, highlight the memories that you uncover as you wander around in the house, because nobody's home, so yeah, you can poke around and slowly uncover the story at your own pace. It's a very linear story, and although it has its moments, it never quite drew me in, but it still gets a 5, just. The Novelist is one of the games in the genre that tries to, and it succeeds at doing something unusual with not only the style of graphics, but also with the mechanics. You have to help the occupants of a house find one of 3 happy endings. Well, actually there are many more possible endings and routes. You play the part of a ghost or sprite who lives in the light bulbs. You must stay hidden at all times. Okay? This adds a hint of tension to the game, because discovery will start to limit your options to progress through the game. But that doesn't ever distract from the actual storyline, which is why I think the game mechanics are really great. You must weave the story through your decisions, and the actual game is so clever because it's actually more fun to play through the second time. I gave The Novelist a 5. Well, that's it. If you enjoyed these games, I have another batch coming up soon. Definitely leave some comments and games that you thought fitted into the contemplative category. Thanks. Bye.